Okay, so you made a basic mead. It tastes like crap. Well, what do you do to fix that? Okay, so in order to do this, that means we need to make a basic mead that'll probably taste like crap. And we're not being sloppy, we're actually being clean. Everything was sanitized, we used Star San.
That's why you can see the foam in here. It is not soap bubbles, it's Star San, because Star San is a foaming sanitizer.
But, you know, some of our people want to see it. So everything was sanitized in
the red bucket of sanitization!
And now what I have here is a scale with a 1.5 gallon fermenter, and I'm going to dump in 3 pounds of honey. This is Kirkland honey, it's a decent honey, but pretend I'm using something crappy like from the grocery store. 3 pounds. Why 3 pounds? Because that'll make about 13% alcohol, and that's usually pretty decent. So the ingredients that we're using, you can pretty much get at like any grocery store, Walmart, Costco, that sort of thing. I mean, this came right from Costco.
Now we're gonna add 96 fluid ounces of warm water.
Yeah, and by warm, we mean like, 100 degrees Fahrenheit or so. If it's too warm, you can kill the yeast, so you don't wanna do that. But if it's cold water, it'll be harder to mix this up.
Now we're gonna mix that all up. We're gonna use today the spattle. It's a spoon, it's a paddle, it's both. Get yours in the description below.
Now, when you're mixing, it's good to get some oxygen in there because it'll help to build the colony up so that the yeast can get to work. Whatever amount of yeast you add in the beginning, you will have a vast amount more at the end because they will go forth and multiply. Now, the concept behind this video is, I know for a fact, so many people, hundreds, if not thousands of people in the time that we've had our channel have said, this is exactly what they did for their first mead and it was horrible. So they didn't make mead ever again. So how can you fix it if it comes out less than perfect?
We're gonna show you.
By the way, first mistake, I probably would not use just water, yeast, and honey to make mead. I would probably add other things.
Right, but we're not talking about us.
Right. But I'm just saying, this is one of the things that I would change right away. So we're not doing it that way. I'm gonna show you later, but that's one of the first things that I would change. Looks like we are mixed up. So next, I'm gonna take a gravity reading. This is, for most beginners, probably an optional step. I don't think it's optional because if you mess up and put in too much or too little honey, you wouldn't know unless you take a reading. I'm expecting this to be around 1.100 to 1.110, 1.104, and I don't have a note.
Nope.
I'll do it later. So 1.104, that's pretty much exactly where I wanted it to be. If I take my hydrometer and I spin that around to potential alcohol from 1.104, that comes out to about 13.5%, which is pretty much what I was looking for. For our yeast choice, we're gonna use bread yeast. Now, a lot of beginners might not. They might use something like EC1118 or some other high potency yeast. But I wanted to use ingredients that you can just get at your local grocery store. So we're using good old Fleischmann's bread yeast. It usually can get 12, 13, sometimes 14%. So this might prove me wrong and actually turn out tasting pretty good.
Half a teaspoon, please.
Actually, I'm gonna use a full teaspoon.
A full teaspoon, please.
Yeah, because half teaspoon is probably enough. But if you want more alcohol, you put in more yeast.
Wrong.
No, you don't. But I'm putting in more because it'll help with the fermentation. It'll actually get it going a little bit quicker. No harm in doing it. Don't put in any more than that because you just don't need it.
And at that point, that's all we're gonna do. We have honey, we have water, we have yeast. We're good to go, right?
Yep, now we just need some time. So we sit and watch. Give it a couple weeks, see you then. Okay, so this has been sitting for 4 weeks. I'm still seeing a little bit of activity in the airlock, but that doesn't mean it's still fermenting. It just means that maybe gases are escaping or any of a number of things.
So the way that we find out is we take a gravity reading.
Yes. It's not 100% clear, which is why we let it go longer than we might normally, just to be on the safe side. But it may never clear, and that is totally okay. So here's an interesting thing. We started with wow, I didn't write down the reading. This should have started at like 1.100-ish or so.
We will review the footage.
Yeah, we'll have to find out later. I'll put it right here, what the original was.
I was gonna say, no, not your pen.
My pen wasn't writing. My fun with flags pen. But anyway, here's an interesting thing. When you just take straight honey and water and yeast, especially a bread yeast, you're going to only get so much alcohol. Now, more than some people will think, because we used Fleischmann's bread yeast, which is actually known for going really, really well. But this ended or stopped at 1.026, which is interesting. That's a little high.
Sure. Now, because it stopped at 1.026, it makes me want to put our sample back, wait another week, and take another gravity reading.
Right. We are going to do that, but I also want to just give you an idea of how much alcohol was made so far. So it should have started around 1.100, probably like 1.106, actually. Minus 1.026 means it burned through 80 points of gravity times 131.25 gives us 10.5% ABV. Now, I happen to know we've gotten higher than that out of Fleischmann's.
Yep.
So I'm very inclined to just put this back and keep fermenting.
Everything has been properly sanitized, so we can put it back without worrying about it too much.
But one thing I am going to do.
Give it a swirl.
Yep, and I would like for you to hold on to that.
I will hold on to this.
Because otherwise it could erupt.
It is very gassy. We saw that in our sample.
Now, before anybody freaks out, no, this is really not oxidizing it. If it's still fermenting and degassing, it's pushing any air that got in there out. But I want to get everything moving. I want to get all that stuff that's in the bottom up in suspension. And here is the thing. This is important to know. This is not stalled. Right now, it's Schrodinger's brew.
See that? This is a sign that the gases that are trapped in suspension are now being forced out due to the swirl, pushing all the oxygen out first because it's lighter than the CO2.
Yep. Now, this is not stalled, like I said, because it's Schrodinger's brew. We don't know if it's stalled. We don't know if it's still fermenting.
Which is
we won't know.
We're going to wait a week and take another reading.
Exactly. See that. Okay, so when last we looked at this, it was a week ago. It doesn't look like it changed all that much. Okay, our airlock is showing positive pressure, but that doesn't actually mean a thing. It just means that the pressure has not been released.
Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that
There we go. All right. So we're going to take another reading today. Last time it was at 1.026. And I have ish on our original gravity, 1.100-ish. I don't really know why I would have said that. It probably was like marginally 1.102 or something like that. But, whatever. 2 points means nothing.
I'm thinking perhaps our honey was crystallized.
But this was Kirkland.
But it was Kirkland, but it might have been, I don't know. Who knows? You probably know, but we don't.
At this point, we don't know. When I'm editing it, I might know. Well, that's really interesting. It has gone down 1.022, what's interesting about that is this. This was started on April 29th. Today is June 4th. So that makes this a solid 5 weeks so far. And it's not finished. That's a little unusual for our situation here. But like I say, it's a little unusual. It's not a problem because there is something to be said for slow fermentations. It's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm going to go with that.
I just set it on there.
Got it.
Fantastic.
So what are we going to do with this?
I guess we're going to let it sit.
Going to let it keep going.
So I have some questions for you before we end this segment.
Yeah, sure.
Do we even care if it stalls as long as it's equal across the board for our adjustments?
Well, here's the thing. This is all about just making the simplest mead possible, which is basically just slapping a bunch of honey, some Fleischmann's yeast, and some water into a jar and seeing what happens. At this point right now, I bet you this tastes pretty darn good.
True.
So it kind of disproves the entire theory. But you know what? Let's do it. Let's find out. Someone asked the other day where we got our cute little wine glasses. These are Belgian beer tasting glasses, and you actually can get them from a link in the description of this very video. Got to wipe out your glass before you drink from it.
Our microfiber cat towels are also linked in the description.
They have cats on them, not cat towels.
They're not for cats.
Yeah, they're not for cats.
They're for glasses.
Right. The cats don't touch these. Put that on there good again. These jars have the greatest seals ever.
Yeah.
All right, so I probably should have just taken it from the sample, but I didn't. So we're going to deal with it, okay? It's all right. It's got a little youth to it. Now, when we say that. For a mead specifically, I get kind of a citrusy, kind of almost a sour type of smell.
Yeah.
Not like vinegar, but a little bit sour and citrus. And that's usually just youth. It's actually from probably fusels and things like that being created during the fermentation process. Like we said, this is supposed to be a crappy mead that we're going to make taste good. Being 1.022 final gravity, it's probably the sweetness may be covering up all kinds of flaws that are in this. Interestingly enough, though, the smell is not that bad. Like, it's not that young.
No.
I'm giving it a really good swirl because I want to see if I can get some of that out before I taste it. You know, like letting it breathe.
I think we needed to work harder on making it crappy.
Why? It tastes good? See, now that I've swirled it quite a bit like that and it's breathing, it actually smells pretty good too. It doesn't look real nice.
No.
I will say that.
The biggest detractor for me is it has, at the very end, what stays on your tongue is kind of that cereal note.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's
this
lovely.
is good. So, well, no. There's some bitter after notes.
Yeah, in the mouth,
Little bit.
it's good.
Yeah.
After it's gone.
Okay, this isn't horrible mead at this point, but it's not great mead. I wouldn't call it crappy. It's just sort of crap.
We can make it bigger, better, faster.
I'd like to let this keep going a while and see what happens, though. Because here's the thing. If we start working from this point right now, we're working from something that already tastes pretty good. I don't want that. I want the real experience. I want it to go dry, be sour and young and kind of nasty. It's probably not going to happen, but we're going to try. So, see you in a week. Okay, so it's been another week on this, and we've had some thoughts. But first, we're going to check this. Because we were at 1.022 last time. It was at 1.026 the time before that. So it's going down. It's just going down really slowly. And some of the things that we've been talking about is this even a crappy mead anymore? It may not be. Now, what might be masking it is the sweetness. That can happen. But we have ideas, just in case. It is today 1.022. It's not moving. All right, here's the thing. Because this came out sweet, is this technically a stall? Maybe-ish. You know, it's in that range still. Let me actually check something for you. Using the calculator teacher said I would never have handy. We use bread yeast. Now, in our experimentation and in our experience, usually that particular bread yeast goes a little higher than that, 11 to 12%. So I'm going to say that this is probably not actually done. It probably stalled. Either way, it's not fermenting anymore. And we need to taste this. You can put the lid back on if you want. Because we may have a problem. A very serious problem.
Which is probably not the problem you think it is.
It's not the stall.
All right, so it is not clear. It has a haze. It's not offensive. It's just, in our experience, typically when something is done fermenting,
It'll start to
those
clear.
particulates start to fall out of the suspension.
So this could be a stall and it could sit like this for a long time. A cold crash might clear this out.
I'm getting a little bit of the youth on the aroma, but it's young, so that's not surprising. I am getting some honey notes, which I would anticipate I should be getting. I'm not getting anything out of the ordinary on the aroma.
Right.
I'm just going to go ahead and get it.
Yeah,
do a
taste it.
taste.
Do it.
And then I'm going to give it to you.
Do it. Now, something else that's interesting. She got a little bit of youth on the smell, you said? If you do a lot of swirling or let it breathe, that can sometimes dissipate, like almost go away. If I play this back and fast forward, it'd be really funny.
It'll be vibrating over there.
Okay, definitely get, when I say young, I almost get like a hint of grapefruit.
Yeah.
It's not quite grapefruit, but it's along those lines. And I get that. There's definitely a little bit of floralness from the honey. It doesn't smell bad. It just doesn't smell great. As she said, not clear. Okay, this is not crappy mead.
This is not a crappy mead, ladies and gentlemen. Thus, we have a problem. But
we do have a solution. Part of that solution is I'm going to drink this. That's how not bad it is.
And we're just going to set this aside, and we might figure out what else to do with this.
You might see this come up on Beyond the Brews, where we make something else out of it. Who knows?
So what we do have is this, which was our water test. I think it's a couple of different ones.
Yeah, this is actually a mix together of a couple of the different tests. We try to consolidate these things, and this is a mix of the water test mead. But look at how crystal clear this is.
It's beautifully clear. And another thing it is it's perfectly, if I remember correctly.
It's dry.
Dry.
Like 0.994 dry.
Right.
It's also a couple months old now. This is June. This was made basically the beginning of March, the end of February, or no, the beginning of February. I'm sorry. So February, March, April, May, June. This is 4 months old.
So typically when people are complaining about their meads and calling them crappy, they're letting us know they're dry.
Yep.
And that is not what they wanted.
Well, they're dry, they're young, they may have a little sourness. There could be a lot of things at play.
But lots of comments are, it tastes like fuel. The only note they're getting, only flavor note is the alcohol.
Right. I need a baster.
Okay. But that's what led us to use this now as our crappy mead source, because it's dry.
We did a bottling chaos day. I think that came out already by the time this video comes out. Well, you'll see that we bottled this and we tasted it and we were like, this tastes bad. It just does not taste nice. Now, it looks pretty. It looks perfect. Go ahead. Just set that on there. It's fine. It looks pretty. It looks really good. It looks like a nice white wine.
Yeah.
However, go ahead and give that a... Did I use the wrong glass? Should I have used a Glencairn glass?
Now, the aroma is actually quite pleasant.
Oh, it is?
You got a touch of the floral notes, and then the rest is just like fermentation.
Okay.
So it's not gross.
Oh, it's not gross. So are you saying it's semi-crappy? Now, neither of us particularly likes very, very dry meads. If you like very, very dry meads, you may love this just the way it is. A little age on it, it might be better for you.
There's more going on there than dryness.
Mm-hmm. On the smell, like you said, it's almost plummy, fruity. Yeah, with a hint of nail polish remover. Which that can come from stressed yeast and things like that. This was not a recipe to make this. It was just a very simple test.
Testing water sources, yep. So when you get it in your mouth, it's dry. It has no acid punch and no tannins. It's watery.
It's thin. Now, when I say that, I mean it's more like water. It doesn't have any stick in your mouth. There's no grip at all. It's got flavors. It's just all the flavors are not the good stuff.
Nope.
Even as a dry mead, I would say that this is weak sauce.
Yep.
I just don't. Yep. I don't think this is very good.
Yeah. So because it has all those negatives, this is actually a perfect base for our concept for this video.
So imagine that this is what we made instead. So going off of the flavor concepts, we have sweetness, tannins, and acids, and all three of those can alter the way something tastes. But the first thing we want to do with this is actually get it into a pitcher so that we can actually work with it.
Okay. I didn't know how you wanted to do that.
Yeah, we're gonna move it to a pitcher.
So we're just gonna do all of it to one, or do we want to do different profiles?
No, put it all into one pitcher, and we're just gonna show the things you can do. Okay, so something I want to say is right now we have a very simple, straight, traditional mead. At this point, this is a blank canvas, and you can do anything. You could add fruits and spices and change it up and do all kinds of things to it. Our intent is to make this still a traditional mead, keep to the kind of intent that it was, but make it taste good for our palates. There's a lot of options that you can do here too, but we're trying to keep it more or less along that path, okay?
So because we prefer our meads to be sweet, not only because we like sweet things more, but also we feel like that enhances the honey presence in the mead, we're gonna start there.
I was not planning on starting with sweetness. I didn't mean to, I was just thinking about it as you were saying, and I was like, I actually wanted to start with acid.
Okay.
Now, can you start either way? Yeah.
Do you know what's really funny about that? I wanted to start with acid too, but I went to sweetness because I assumed Brian wanted to start with sweetness.
Nope. I want to be spicy. All right, so I have here acid blend. Now, if you don't have acid blend, I also bought citric acid, which citric acid would add a little bit of like a citrus. You know what? I kind of want that now. Acid blend is 3 different kinds of acids and is a more generic acidic profile. Citric acid, however, much like the name implies, would add more of a citrusy feel. It doesn't really taste like oranges or lemons, but it kind of reminds you of them. And I think this might benefit from just a little extra.
Speaking of oranges and lemons, if you don't have access to either one of these things, you can add lemon juice.
Yeah, just straight lemon juice would work as well. I'm going to start with, that is a half a teaspoon. It's not much, but I'm going to start with that just to kind of get a base, and we'll go from there.
Now this is a powder, so we're going to mix it to make sure that it dissolves and is blended thoroughly into our brew.
Right. Now, I only wanted to do that just to get a nice base of acidity because I know this needed some. We might be adjusting that more later. And this is where it's kind of like you got to know a little bit of what you're doing, but you can also experiment. I can add a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. The only thing that you really won't notice if you add right away is the tannins. The only way to do that is to brew like a cup of black tea and add that directly, which, we should probably just do that.
Yeah, so we have the instant.
Let me go make some black tea. So I made some tea. This is just a black tea bag. Don't even ask me what kind it is because it just doesn't matter. And I just have 8 ounces of hot water. I'm going to steep it for about 4 minutes or so.
Now, can you use a flavored tea? Absolutely, you can. That flavor of the tea is going to then be imparted into the flavor of your brew.
Right. Like Earl Grey tea has bergamot. It's going to be bergamot flavored.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
We're using just straight black tea because we want it for the tannins, not for the flavor.
Right.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Yes. You can use green tea too. It just has less tannins. Okay. So will other teas work? Yes, just not the way that we are intending for this one. Okay. Next would be the sweetening. So we have some acid, some sweetening. You can use honey, you can use sugar, you can use maple syrup, you can use whatever you want. Because this is a mead, we want to use honey.
Right. Our intent is to enhance the properties of honey, so that way when you drink this, you're like, oh yes, this is a mead. I'm getting honey sensations, be it a floral or a citrus or a herbaceous, depending on what type of honey, they're going to bring their own element to this brew. Speaking of that, you can use an inexpensive honey like Kirkland Wildflower because it's just a nice generic honey.
Yep.
Or,
which is what we used to make this, by the way, was just a Kirkland Wildflower honey.
Or you can back sweeten with a more expensive honey because you're going to use less amounts of the honey, and that way you'll get more bang for your buck.
Well, it doesn't even have to be an expensive honey, just an exotic, something different than what you use.
Right.
I just got this out just to show that that's a Hawaiian Wailiki flower honey, which is really, really good, great for back sweetening with. But we're going to actually just use the old standby Wildflower because that's what we made it with, and we want to keep to the same flavor profile, okay? Now, how much? This is the question that comes up all the time. And the answer is, it depends. Some brews will require more, some will require less. Also, your personal tastes come into play. We tend to like things a little sweeter. And as I said earlier in the other one, sweetness can cover up a lot of sins. So if this has just got some nasty, awful off flavors or weirdness, we can cover that up with sweetness. Now you might be asking also, this needs to be addressed. What caused those off flavors in the first place? Oop, our tea is ready. What caused those off flavors in the first place? And that's an excellent question.
You have an empty glass over there. You can put.
I do. The off flavors, I wouldn't even call them off flavors. They're young flavors, okay? Are caused by, well, I'll be honest, yeast like to have nutrients, and when there's very little anything in the brew at all, they tend to get a little bit stressed. We may not have mixed these as much. We may not have oxygenated as much. I don't really know what's...
It wasn't about the process, so we didn't really take
Yeah, this wasn't about the process. This was about the water. Does the water make a difference in the fermentation? The original test here. So the things that caused it to be not so good are youth and just basic simplicity. We didn't do anything.
It was a very simplistic, overly simplistic, to its detriments is simplistic.
Oh, yeah.
Because we weren't trying to make a mead. We were just trying to test their water.
Right. So this has a little bit of honey applied to it and a little bit of acidity. Right. So now it should feel a little bit crisper, a little bit lighter, but a touch sweeter.
Along with back sweetening with honey, you have to remember that honey is slightly acidic itself. Mm-hmm. So if you were back sweetening with a different sugar or sweetener,
Right.
then you may have to adjust your amount of acids
Right.
as well, because they all work together.
Now, another thing that we didn't talk about is you're going to want to stabilize this in some way. Before we added the honey, if we wanted to use chemical stabilizers, that's the time to apply that, wait 24 hours, and then you can do what we're doing now. If you're not going to use those and you want to use pasteurization, it's best to put the honey in first. That way, it'll kill off any wild yeast that might be in there when you pasteurize.
Yep.
It still smells
It's
very...
got a long way to go.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first thing I would like to add is that tea.
First thing I'd like to add is more acid.
All right.
The tea is done.
It's incredibly watery still.
Yep.
Like-
It has no mouthfeel whatsoever. It's like drinking water.
It's
And now this
surprising.
tea, thing about making tea to use for a brew, I used 1 tea bag. That's the important thing. It doesn't matter how much water you use, except now it does, because now I'm diluting the
Yeah.
brew. If we put this in when we were making it, it's just part of your water, and it doesn't matter. You can make 1 tea bag in a gallon of water if you wanted to. It's going to taste roughly the same in the end product. But now this will dilute this a little bit. Am I okay with that? Yeah. What difference does it really make at this point? I mean, this started out at 1084 and finished at 984. So it's like, it's like 10%, 11%, something like that.
If you need any clarification about what Brian was talking about with the water volume and tea, just drop us a question in the comments below and Brian will be happy to explain it to you if he understands your question. So if you just say,
That was funny.
what tea?
Yeah.
That's not really a question that's easy for us to express because we don't know what your question is. But if you say, I'm confused about the water volume used to steep the tea and how it reflects my recipe, that's something we can answer.
Yep. I used 8 ounces of water just to get the minimum amount. And it actually brought up the volume of our brew a little bit, lowered the ABV though.
And it did color it, which is something to take into
Yeah,
consideration. if
so it'll be a
color is
little,
a thing.
it didn't really change it that much, but it did. It does.
All right. Are you grippy? Better be
And
grippy.
sticky.
I wouldn't say it's overly tannic at all. It's definitely light on the tannic,
But
but it has more presence than when it did before.
definitely detecting a little bit of the acidity coming back, and definitely has a little bit of the mouth drying feel. Definitely getting there. That's huge improvements.
So now that we have those little bits of acid and tannins in there that help us feel like it's not just fermented water, we can focus on our sweetness level because I think that's really, for us, what's the most striking deficiency here.
Right. Well, here's the thing. If we had just sweetened it, didn't add any acid or any tannins to
It would still be meh.
it would just be kind of flabby sweet. It might come across as medicinal sweet even, that kind of thing. So by adding that little bit of punch from the acidity and the mouthfeel from the tannin, it makes the sweetness work better. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
Does that make sense to you?
Right. So let me see if I can say it in different words. And this is part of the difficulty of being an instructor on a social media platform is that we don't have direct communication with you. If you were actually in my classroom, I could talk to you directly and you could say, hey, I didn't understand that point. Could you
You know, if you were in
clarify?
a VIP club, we could do that.
Right. So
Just saying. That
That-
wasn't really a plug. It's true.
back to the thing at hand here is that we're trying to build a structure based on our very boring base.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't bad. It was just boring.
It was boring. It was super boring. There was nothing going on for it, other than it had some alcohol.
I think it needs more acid. Mm-hmm. I like that reaction.
It is amazing to me how bland this was. And I
Yeah,
think
we should have kept a glass of it
And I
to
think-
compare.
that was when we were doing the Chaos Bottling Day, we came to this. I'm like, why are we trying to recreate a crappy mead when we got a perfect
We have
one
a
right
crappy
here?
mead right there. Yeah. So that was another full teaspoon. So now we have 2 teaspoons in here. I'm just going to start marking down what we've done. Honey is to taste at this point. So
Yes.
I'm going to add a bit more.
Yes.
I did just put in some more acid, and everything is a balancing act. If I put in more acid, we might need more sweetness to balance that out. But we're at the point where the acid level was almost non-existent.
Yeah.
Like it needed some punch, it needed some,
everything was non-existent. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
about
this
that.
was, as far as plain canvases go, this was it.
This was the perfect plain canvas.
And I want to say, yeah, I'll actually do the math because you have it in your hands. 1084. We did dilute this quite a bit. So yeah, it started out at 10.5% ABV when we started this today. It's probably going to be something like 9 by the time we get done with all the dilution that we're doing. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with 9%. A lot of commercial meads are actually around that range.
Sure. Lower ABV means you get to drink more.
Yep. It also means it doesn't need as much aging. And actually balancing flavors is easier. Like I hear people making 18 and 20% meads, and I'm like, that's a bear to try to.
I still don't understand why people get argumentative about alcohol being a flavor.
They don't anymore. We have quelled that discussion.
Okay.
We convince people.
It's there. It's a thing. It affects your receptors.
Still needs more acid. This one's taking a lot of acid, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. I like acid. Don't take that out of context, please.
We have a pasteurization going on. So if there's a weird noise, which probably isn't being detected by our camera.
And I use noise reduction.
But it is certainly being detected by my ears.
Yeah, it's like a whine.
And it's getting in the painful range.
It's a high-pitched... I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
That's okay. I think it's because of the milk jug, the vibrations against the metal is probably creating a different pitch.
Now I added another teaspoon of acid blend, citric acid, and a little bit more honey, and we're going to mix that through too.
And so this is effectively what we suggest all our viewers do at the end of fermentation. So we want you to taste your product.
Okay, well, let's talk about that.
And see how can it be better. If it is perfect, don't touch it. It doesn't matter. If it's good to you, it's good.
Right. It doesn't matter what someone else thinks.
Be done with it.
A lot of the time, the only addition that we usually make is going to be sweetness. Because usually we've taken into account acidity and tannin already. Yeah. Like we'll put tea in the beginning, or we'll have something that has tannins in it. Yeah. So tannins are already there. And the acidity usually comes naturally. Usually you get a nice acidic profile from mead, especially. Naturally, fruits will do it too. This one was just, I call it flabby. It had nothing.
Right. So we talked about some of the different things you can use for acids, be it acid blend, a specific acid derivative, or something acidic like lemon juice or another citrus.
Now, the problem with this particular brew is if I used lemon juice, I'd be using so much that it would add the lemon flavor. And I didn't want that.
Right.
I didn't know that when I started, but had we started to use lemon juice and I went, ooh, this needs more, I probably would have switched to a different kind of acid. You can use multiple different kinds too.
Then as far as tannins go, we have our powdered wine tannin. We used black tea, but there are also other tannins that you can add to a brew.
I would say this has improved drastically. Like, I consider that to be pretty darn good now. I need another taste of this. So, interestingly enough, what I want to do is I still have the sample from the crappy one that didn't finish.
Oh.
Here's the comparison.
Okay, but that was the crappy, not this crappy, the other crappy.
Right. This is the one that didn't actually finish. This is the one that was just too sweet.
The one that wasn't crappy.
The non-crappy crappy.
But it wasn't balanced.
So I want you to taste that. Yeah, it's not balanced.
All right, so I'm going to try to finish my thought here.
Go for it.
So the other things that add tannins to a brew are oaking. So if you wanted to take the time with this and add additional things other than just tannins, because with oaking comes the
vanillins and caramel flavors
and other things that are inherent in the particular oak or wood that you choose, that can adjust tannins as well. The problem with that is that if you're low on tannins to start off with, you don't really have a good gauge of what your final will be.
Yeah. Okay, I want you to taste that. Now, I think this one is not quite as sweet as the original was. And then taste the newly reimagined non-crappy from boring to good. You should have a much more complex flavor in this one. Because the other one was just very simple traditional meat. It's basically the same concept as this, It just had gone completely dry.
Right. Our crappy mead that we were trying to make that wasn't crappy still had enough tannins and acids and sweetness to make it pleasing and not crappy.
Pleasing, but not great.
But our new reimagined crappy mead has more complexity than our not crappy.
Now, the original, I just tasted that. I just drank that. It's got sweetness, not a whole lot of acidity, not a lot of nice mouth pucker to it. It was relatively mild in all respects. Nothing really stood out. It was kind of one note, and it was just came in, went in, came down, and that was the end of it. Not a lot going on for it. So now I'm going to try this one right here.
Definitely less sweet, but more complex on the flavor profile.
Right off the bat, I'm hit with a little bit of a tang and floral punch right up front. And then the sweetness comes in. It's not as sweet, not nearly as sweet, nowhere near as sweet.
No.
We'll give you a reading to know how much we put in. And then it has a nice like staying power. And even the exhale is still kind of flowers and like almost citrus. There's just like I said, the citric acid adds just the tiniest hint of a citrus kind of thing. It's generic citrus though. It's not really lemon. It's not lime. It's not orange. It's kind of just citrus. Honestly, this is way better now than the original. Way better. So let's just give a reading on this so we can give an idea of how far we went. Because it was 994 when we started. I'm going to say we went to 1.012. I'd be wrong. 1.024. We actually, okay, this is interesting now. This is now sweeter than the other one. There's more sweetness in this than in the other one.
But the other one tastes sweeter than this. I guess because of the balance, the sweetness is...
Yes, that's a perfect example of by using acids and tannins, you can counteract sweetness.
Yep.
So this doesn't taste anywhere near as sweet.
No.
It doesn't have to. It has that everything going for it. The mouthfeel, the tannins, the acid profile, way different. But I thought that was fantastic. I'm glad it came out that way. So we can show you that even though it wasn't...
It wasn't perceptioned as sweet as the other one. The readings say it is sweeter than the other one.
Sweeter by 2 points. But you saw my guess, 1.012. I gotta taste it again, just to prove that I'm not going crazy here.
And when Brian is done with that, I'm going to tell him out front what I'm trying to do so he will stop derailing me.
Oh, that's good. All right, I'm sorry, what?
So what we've done here is basically adjusted sweetness, acidity, and tannic profile to create a more balanced, a more flavorful, a more appreciative brew. And that's what we're trying to illustrate to you of what you can do to adjust your brew if you feel like it tastes like crap.
Yeah. Now, if you have significantly more alcohol, you may need larger quantities. By the way, do not take the quantities that I added as that's how much to add. It's more like a guideline, okay?
It's the Pirates Code.
Because some things are going to require less acid than we use. Some things are going to require more. Some things might need 2 cups of tea.
Right.
Some things you might say, you know what, I don't have enough in there. I'm going to add some wine tannin. And that way you can get even more in there if you wanted to.
All right. To recap, your options for acidity are acid blend or a specific acid powder that works within the culinary field.
Yeah, generally you want citric, malic, or
Tartaric.
tartaric acid. Yeah.
Also, you can use natural things such as lemon juice, lime juice. Just remember those flavors are going to carry over into your brew.
Don't use
Sometimes
vinegar.
That works great. Other times, not so much.
Actually, I shouldn't say don't use vinegar. If you do, just be very, very careful because vinegar adds a very specific flavor profile, and you definitely want to pasteurize afterwards because if you activate acetobacter, you're going to make vinegar.
Yep.
Especially if you use like a whole apple cider vinegar or something with the mother. Vinegar is probably not the best option for adding acid. I'll just say that. It's not.
And then we move on to the tannic additions. So you can use the tannic wine powder. You can use the black tea as we did.
Yep.
You can use a flavored tea. Just remember those flavors are going to impart into your brew. And you can also oak at a later date, which is going to not only add the tannic element, but other elements as well, which may be really great for your brew.
Can I expand on the oaking?
Totally.
We say oaking, but what we really mean is wood aging.
Yes.
Because there's different kinds of wood that you can use. It doesn't have to be oak. It's just traditionally it was always oak. Okay. So that's why everybody just says, oh, I oaked it.
Actually, one of our favorites isn't oak. It's amberana.
Yeah. Completely different kinds of wood do completely different kinds of things. Yes. Different char levels on them do different things.
Yep.
People ask all the time, can I just go out in my backyard and cut off a tree limb and use that? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. We get ours from Ken from Barrel Char Wood Products, who is working on getting some Amazon stuff up, but he does have an Etsy store that Derica can link.
He does such a good job. Yep. And honestly, his products is what changed our mind about oaking things in the first place.
We used to try the chips and the spirals and the stuff, like, and they were all junk and nothing ever tasted good. We started using Ken's stuff because Bearded and Board sent him to us.
So thank you, Bearded and Board. It's all your fault.
He doesn't watch. I don't think. Maybe he does. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
So that is our tannic spectrum.
Yep.
Finally.
Actually, there's more ways to add tannins, like spices and things like that, but that goes
even
outside.
Fruit.
Yeah, fruit can add it too. But that goes outside the spectrum of keeping it to what it was. Right. Now, if you made something that had spice flavor already and it needed more tannin, you could actually add more spices. See, here's the thing. This is just like the basic most.
It's the tip of the iceberg. Remember, most of it is underwater.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. Finally is sweetness, which we kind of talked about, but we didn't fully talk about. So we are making a mead. So we kept our sweetness paradigm to honey, which is so vast and varied, which we talked about. But beyond honey, there's so many sweeteners. There's fermentable
just use
and
plain old white sugar.
Sugars. If you didn't need to add the honey element, then that opens up your doors to other options.
Right. There's even non-fermentable sweeteners. Like if you used erythritol or allulose or any of the others that are out there, then you wouldn't have to pasteurize or stabilize. So
as long as your brew was done, which this one was.
But they all add a little different flavor than, like, say, using honey or plain old white sugar. They're not exactly the same. Some people don't mind it. Some people have a very high sensitivity to it.
Then one of the things that you can do to adjust the flavor profile of your brew, regardless of what it is, that we didn't cover in this particular video is fortification.
Right, where you're adding a spirit to it.
Right.
And that spirit could be everything from vodka and Everclear, which are going to add almost no flavor, but a lot of alcohol, which will alter the flavor and the balance of flavors, all the way to
possibly stabilize your brew as well.
Yes, if you go past the tolerance of the yeast that you used, then you wouldn't even have to pasteurize or stabilize. But
there's so many flavors.
You can add so many different liquors and spirits to things. Here's the trick. You want to use as little as possible to keep it at the same kind of taste flavor as the mead or wine or whatever it was originally, if that's what you're going for. But you can also turn it into a pre-made cocktail just by adding more of it. And either way, you're not wrong. If you like it, then you're doing it right. And that's kind of the whole crux of all of this. We're just trying to teach you how to make it into something that you enjoy. The ways of doing that are varied and numerous, as you could probably see from this video.
Right. So your takeaway from this video should be, just because fermentation is done doesn't mean your brew is done. Make it so that you can enjoy it later.
That was excellent. Now, the questions have come up. What do we do with this now? We're going to put it back into a container. It's going to go under airlock and it's going to get pasteurized. And then it's just going to sit on the shelves until we probably taste it on the Beyond the Brews channel or something crazy.
End up on the Chaos Bottling Day.
Yeah.
When we finally get around to bottling it.
Yeah. I have to change the label completely because it's no longer this at all. But anyway, I hope you got something from this video. If you did, please give a like. And, if you haven't subscribed to any of our channels yet, give some thought to subscribing. We'd like to have you.
Let us know in the comments if you had an aha moment where you finally figured out something, where something finally clicked, because we all get those aha moments.
We still do all the time.
And those are the best things.
I had 3 of them just making this video. Anyway, as always, guys, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.
Bye-bye.